Yeah. Here, it is already. It is already. What's the time now? Anyway, it's in the night now, and I'm eating my supper. I'm eating in shima with gizzards and eggplants. That's why you see me in pajamas. But anyway, let me just say something about that, because a lot of you are complaining, oh, you are wearing pajamas, go and change, go and dress up. Guys, the issue is that this place is very hot. It's really, really hot. All the time, I mean, dressing up, if you are so, it gets too hot. You know, all the time you have to switch on the aircon. But then, since I stay too much inside and always switching on the aircon, it is also not good for my health. So, I tend to, you know, dress very little on my body, you know. Sometimes I just walk around here without clothes. Kind I live alone. Anyway, so you should just excuse me. This place is really hot for me, and the dressing up clothes, and then I'm not going anywhere. Most of the times I'm inside. My movements are very restricted, very restricted. You know when you are living as a protected person, it's quite difficult. But anyway, so just excuse me for that. Now, and don't mind me talking to you whilst eating, because you are accompanying me. Instead of me sitting here eating alone, at least I'm talking to you. Now, what I wanted to talk about is this issue of Hichilema. Hichilema terela. Hichilema doesn't forgive. Yeah, you won't come back. Hichilema will not forgive you. Yeah, when you come back, you will go straight to prison. Some of you people, you talk like you know so much. To start with, me, I have been told to come back home. I have been confidently asked to come back home. I won't give details of that, but I want you to know that that very Hakainde Hichilema that you say, hey, Terela, he doesn't forgive, he doesn't forgive, he will not forgive you. I want to tell you, get it from me. Me, I've been told to come back home. I can't give much details about that, but I want you to know that I have been told to come back home. And I will come. I will come back home. I will come back home soon. I've been told to come back home. So that story, Ramulanda, Hakainde Hichilema terela, what? That is not what I'm experiencing. But by the way, those of you who say terela, from what premise do you make that assertion? Or what are your reasons for saying that? You see, most of us were introduced to Hakainde Hichilema by the media, by the ruling party then, by MMD. But the one that messed him up a lot, you were PF. But PF really sold Hakainde Hichilema as a very bad man. And they imprinted this, they implanted this in our minds to say Hakainde Hichilema is a very bad man. Hakainde Hichilema is a very bad man. And they were using that to threaten us not to vote for Hakainde Hichilema. Okay? And even when he now that he's in power, the PF have continued to running this narrative to say Hakainde Hichilema is a very bad. Hakainde Hichilema is a very bad. Verifying him so that people can hate him. When he was in opposition, they were using that to threaten people not to like Hakainde Hichilema. Now that he's in power, they are using that so that people can hate Hakainde Hichilema. But Hakainde Hichilema in power, I think he has clearly demonstrated that is not what these people said about him. And I'm sure you would want me to give reasons to back up my point. To start with, Hakainde Hichilema and UPND, they suffered a lot at the hands of the PF. We all know that. They suffered. Just wearing something red, even passing in the streets. Remember the incidents where people were beaten at Intercity Market for merely wearing something red. Hakainde Hichilema himself, how many times was he arrested? How many times was he chased by cadres? A number of times Hakainde Hichilema had to make his ways in the bush to run away from cadres. It was bitter. It was bloody. But then Hakainde Hichilema won power. After he won power, tell me how many people were followed simply because UPND is in power. Simply because UPND is in power and their PF, how many were followed? We didn't have a situation like there about PF Nava MMD, where when William Banda had to run away, go into another country. A number of people, when PF won elections in 2011, a number of people had to run out of the country. They had to get out. People's houses were vandalized when PF won. We didn't have that when UPND won, because Hakainde Hichilema issued a directive of no vengeance. Remember, Mwali Teta was even complaining. When Mwali Teta wanted to fix some of these people, but Hakainde Hichilema refused. So if he was that bad, I think a number of people would have been sorted out. I know you will talk about, no, what about those who are in court right now? What about those who are in prison right now? And of course, you can even talk about me. Now, I'll start with those people that are in prison. And if I could, I wish I could mention names. But you can mention whatever name. Mention a name in the comment and I will respond to you. Most of the people that are in court or are in prison, they have got clear cases, very clear cases, whereby they were arrested not because UPND is in power, but they were arrested because there were some cases. You can mention who was arrested purely because Hichilema is president. A number of people who were arrested, who have been arrested, have got cases in court. They were at least cases. Then when you talk about, maybe you talk about me. My cases, they are political. Now, there is a difference between having cases in court because somebody is simply in power, where somebody wants to flex to show that I'm in power. No. There is a difference with somebody who is posing a threat to the government. There is a difference. There is a difference where somebody is arresting people because I've got power. I have power. Like the way we used to have it during the PF. But PF, it is about power, showing that they have got power. We had the slave queens, quarreling with a friend. They order the police to go and pick up a slave queen and lock them up. And not releasing them until a slave queen says, okay, now you can release that person. We don't have that now. Since Hichilema came into power, we don't have that kind of nonsense. We had the situations of cadres. Waboman mwiketenu uyarela that bakateka tabakapite. Remember, cadres. We don't have that now. But in PF it was there. For me, my cases are as a result of me pushing the agenda of Alebwelelapo. And that issue of Alebwelelapo, whether you like it or not, I brought that issue and I made it grow. And it shook the UPND. It threatened the UPND. To slow me down, they started fixing me with Utuma cases so that they slow me down. So it is about this guy is posing a threat to our power. We need to slow him down. It is different from Hichilema saying, this is tired. He used to write negative things about me. Go and arrest him. I haven't been arrested for anything that I said about Hichilema when he was in opposition. I've never been arrested for that. I was arrested for things I said afterwards when UPND was in power, which threatened the UPND. So I'm sure you get a difference there. There is a difference. Somebody saying, no, because we're in power now, let's treat them. Let's fix them. And people have got cases or whatever cases that they may bring up, and then they arrest you. Fiapusana. There is a difference. And anyway, the situation as it may be, at least now, we are getting somewhere with the UPND. We are getting somewhere. Like I've told you, I've been told, come back home. and I'll come back home. Now, apart from that, remember, I am giving you grounds why I say that Hakainde Hichilema is not as bad as he has been maligned or verified by the PF. A number of people have actually been forgiven for their cases. A number of people have been forgiven on their cases. I wish I could mention their names, but there are a number of people that were supposed to be prosecuted, and they have let go of them. A number of them. Remember the issue of Musa Mwenye saying he differed with the UPND government because he said these people have stolen, but we are allowing them to cut deals. Musa Mwenye wanted people to be prosecuted, but a number of them cut deals. A number of them cut deals. The only issue is that when these people are forgiven, the issues are not reported. They don't come out to say, no, me, I was forgiven. They don't. But I can tell you a number of people have been forgiven. Hakainde Hichilema lived up to his words. Remember when he just came into power, he was saying, if people come forward and say, this is what I got, can government, take so much and leave me with so much? Remember, there was that amnesty. Some of you forget that. UPND gave an amnesty to the PF, to those that had embezzled. That if you come forward and you talk to us, we will let go of you. Some people heed to that. And this is why you see some of those ministers are not being touched. Some of those ministers, I don't want to mention their names. Some of those ministers, some of the people that were in government occupying very senior positions, they came forward. They heed to that call, to that amnesty. Even the issue of vehicles. I remember Jack Mwimbu insisting, some of you have got government properties such as vehicles. Bring them. If you bring them, we will not touch you. We will. There is an amnesty. But a number of them didn't. I can mention only one person because it's him. You remember Kaiza Zulu? Kaiza Zulu had got one of the issues was about the vehicles. And the problem that they followed Kaiza after that amnesty had expired. But they did issue that amnesty. Another name came into my mind, but I'll leave that. But a number of people that were arrested, they were only arrested after that amnesty, which President Hakainde Hichilema had put forward. That is when those people started being arrested. And this is why you see that some of these cases, they are being concluded now. Because there was almost like a year where Hakainde Hichilema gave people a chance, to come forward and say, okay, this is what I got, and I'm asking government to forgive me and get part of this and whatever. A number of people anyway that cut those deals. So, isn't that a sign of somebody who is trying to forgive? Isn't that a sign? Isn't that ground to show that this person is forgiving? Only those who did not come forward. I can assure you, I know that even Bowman, he was offered that amnesty. I know about it. Bowman was offered that amnesty, where government told him to say, look, we can get this. You remain with this. But Bowman refused because of Makebi Zulu. Makebi Zulu advised him against. No. Bowman is now in jail. Makebi Zulu is in South Africa. Another guy, the so-called Lungu family, they were offered. I know one of Lungu's children even gave up to say, you know what, I can live my life. Get all this. Makebi Zulu came in and advised otherwise. So sometimes when I'm talking about this Makebi Zulu is a wrong guy. He has misled a lot of people. A lot of these people, even Malanji. Malanji's judgment is coming on Monday. All that, it is the adamancy of Makebi Zulu. But there are people that have negotiated. Some of them had to drop Makebi Zulu for them to negotiate. There were some people who were being represented by Makebi Zulu. But because they wanted to negotiate, they had to fire Makebi Zulu. Or not really fire, but to put him aside. And pick up some lawyers that could negotiate. And they negotiated. A number of them so. A number of them. You check, not just ministers. There are others who are in the military. There are others who are in government. A number of them. They negotiated. The point I'm trying to make is that Hakainde Hichilema is not as bad as he has been sold out there. He has been sold to us like he's a very bad-hearted man. But here are the reasons that I've given you. Number one, he suffered when he was in opposition. When he became president, he never followed anyone because they treated him bad. Whatever cases that these people that you may talk of, abali mufifungo or abali mukoti, they are cases which they had actually committed. Recently, I've been talking about the issue of Wakambwili. I've been reluctant to talk about it. Oh no, hey, look at Wakambwili. Wakambwili stopped talking, but where is he? I mean, that case, Wakambwili, is a case of high public interest. That case is a case of high public interest. And so some Yamama cases, even if you are a president, you don't just say, no, don't prosecute Kambwili. No, Kambwili should not go to prison. You don't do that. You don't do that. So, some cases of high public interest or people of high public interest may not just be, Hakainde Hichilema would not just come out and say, hey, I've forgiven him. No. Because that would be an abuse of the law at the same time. Those are the things that you can come to in future and lift immunity and prosecute Hakainde Hichilema. So some of these issues, when you are talking, you should also bear in mind that he's a president who has to follow the law. Much as he may want to forgive or let go of some of these cases, at the end of the day, there is a law that has to be followed. But over and above everything, basically, what I just wanted to say is that Hakainde Hichilema is not as bad. He's not as bad. So, lekeni ubufi mwate mwa akainde Hichilema telela akainde Hichilema telela akainde Hichilema doesn't forgive. There are many people that have been forgiven, many that have been forgiven, unless you are not you don't follow issues well, you are ignorant. But if you are not ignorant, there are a number of people that have been forgiven. There are a number of cases that were in court and later on withdrawn because those people sought to compromise, with government. From my point of view, Hakainde Hichilema is actually very understanding. But at the same time, much as he may be understanding, he also has to follow the law. So it is not just a matter of what in business you are going to say, oh, okay, I've forgiven you. No. Some of these cases were committed in public, and people know about these cases. So how can Hakainde Hichilema just come up and say, I've forgiven this person? No, it doesn't work out like that. But those that compromised, they did it, and they have been forgiven. So nachama vendande kufe pali yo ine issue. Twaitema sana kumubepesha Hakainde, we taka kwelele Hakainde telela. Hakainde bengi aerera. Na Edgar Lungu yu ine wafwa. Nga chako Hakainde Hichilema talerera. Edgar Lungu ngali ngire po mjere. Nomba Edgar Lungu afuire fye kwa bulu kuingira po mjere. Even these people were complaining, no, Edgar Lungu was whatever. If Hakainde Hichilema was bad, Edgar Lungu would have also suffered. Edgar Lungu would have gone in jail. If at all Hakainde Hichilema wanted. But the man has got a heart. Not if muwe pesha. Muiramu pesha. Anyway, like I told you that I just want to eat with you. So napu ishokulia. Nareka no kulanda no banara amukulala. Okay, first na tamba ka movie ka mo erondari. Bye.